Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin, because in today's video, I want to discuss why I've actually lost confidence in Bitcoin here in the short term, and why I think we're going to be headed lower on the Bitcoin chart. As you guys know, if you watched yesterday's video, I was talking about the importance of Bitcoin making higher highs and making higher lows, but unfortunately, as we can see here over the last couple of days, Bitcoin has actually made another lower high on the longer-term time frames. We had a high here, a high here, and now we're having a lower high. Bitcoin is currently testing support around $11,400 to $11,500 or so, and I'm concerned that Bitcoin is about to break that and start heading lower. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more technical analysis on Bitcoin, and we're going to be talking about Bitcoin's lower highs, what that means, and we're also going to be trying to figure out if Bitcoin is in fact about to have another bearish breakout below $11,400 again. We're going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video, guys, so if you do enjoy today's video, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell as always, guys. But without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. Alrighty, guys, well, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a recap about what has happened here over the last couple of days. Bitcoin, of course, ran up to $14,000 and then fell all the way down to $10,000. That was the kind of correction that we'd been looking for a while. It was about a 25% correction in the span of about a day. About 18% of that happened in the span of 5 minutes. Like I said, we happened to be live streaming during that, and we caught a lot of that. But from there, we were hoping that if this was just a correction and just a short-term retracement, that Bitcoin would be able to bounce up all the way to $14,000 and keep going. I, for one, was skeptical that that was even close to possible, because Bitcoin had been rallying in a bull run and in a major rally ever since the beginning of the bull run and before. Bitcoin has been rallying since back over here on February the 8th. All of this has been in one single rally. Bitcoin has not had a major pullback to speak of. 300%. Bitcoin rallied for 4.5 months before we finally saw a pullback. But we did. We saw a pullback back over here on the 26th, and we pulled all the way down to $10,000. From there, this could have turned into one of two things. We either could have seen Bitcoin use this as a correction to move into a longer-term retracement and crash, or we could have seen this bounce and this just be a breather for the bulls, and that the bulls were about to continue moving up even higher. It doesn't look like that's what's happened. We were kind of biding our time for that, maybe thinking that that would happen. It hasn't. Bitcoin made a lower low right here, a lower high right here, right there, and then we made another lower high right there. And of course, if Bitcoin had made a higher high following this one, and Bitcoin had had a high up here somewhere instead of right here, that would have been different. Then Bitcoin maybe would have been in a new uptrend and could have continued this rally. But since Bitcoin has made a new lower high here, I know I'm saying lower high, higher low, all this stuff. I know it's a little confusing. Bear with me here. Because Bitcoin has made a lower high here in regards to this one, and this one is a lower high in regards to this one, that means that Bitcoin is very much in a downtrend. And I do realize that Bitcoin has higher lows right here, but we also have an equal low right here, which means we have two lower highs, and we have one higher low only. We have another equal low right here. Pretty much what all this means is that Bitcoin has tried to bounce here twice. It tried to bounce right here, and then it tried to bounce right here. Neither time was Bitcoin actually successful in setting a new higher high, and we keep falling over. As we can see, Bitcoin fell out of this rising trading channel right here over the last couple of hours, and has actually fallen down exactly to this level of support we had drawn on the chart of around $11,400. I'm not convinced that this is going to hold. I have a feeling this is going to break bearish in the next few hours, and that you guys are probably going to see a breakout either before this video goes live or just after this video goes live. I don't see a lot of strength right here. Bitcoin's kind of just hovering down here around the level of support. Of course, you can move this level of support a little bit right here and make it look like Bitcoin is sitting right above it. There are people drawing this at 11.5. That's very much valid. The point is, Bitcoin is testing this level of support quite a lot on the 5-minute chart. Bitcoin has not come down here and bounced off of this definitively. Bitcoin has not come down here and just moonshotted away from it like it has in previous. As you can see, we kind of got away from it pretty quickly with an inverse H&S right here. And right down here, we have this double bottom where Bitcoin got away from its levels of support pretty quickly. Bitcoin continues to trade around this. I think we're going to break bearish here. And it's not just because of the way the chart looks. I have a lot of different technical indicators I want to show you guys as well. Now, before I get into the reasons why I do think that Bitcoin is going to break bearish, I will give you guys a couple of caveats. There are a few reasons to think that Bitcoin may have a short-term correction here, and correction, by that I mean a bullish correction where Bitcoin rallies here a little bit and then falls back over. If Bitcoin does that, that's actually going to be a decision point. I should mention that. If Bitcoin does manage to bounce off of this and set a higher high relative to this one, like it sets a high up here around $12,500 or so, if we can do that, then maybe we can start a new uptrend. But I'm more in the bearish camp, and I'll show you why. Even though we do have some overextension signals on RSI on the hourly chart, and especially on the 30-minute chart right here, as you can see, both of these times that Bitcoin came down, we went overextended on the RSI, but we did fall through. Anyway, that is a case to be made that we might go, that we might bounce bullish here. But I would also bring to your attention that Bitcoin was oversold on the RSI right here and here, and Bitcoin still had more bearishness to come. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I did just want to make sure you guys were getting both sides of the story. So let's go ahead and dive on into the longer term signals for why Bitcoin I think is more bearish. One of them would have to do with the 4-hourly chart here. As you can see, we are currently diverging bearish on the 4-hourly chart, which basically means that these two lines, the MACD line right here and the signal line right here, are spreading further apart, and that a bullish cross is going to be harder to achieve in the near term future. And that is typically a very bearish sign. MACD is very strong, especially on these more frequented time frames like the 4-hourly chart, like the hourly chart, like the daily chart. This is a very common chart for people to do technical analysis on. Another thing to point out is that Stochastic Rsi is currently in the process of jumping off a cliff. You guys know Stochastic Rsi is like that. It's very all over the place. It likes to go very far one direction and very far in the other direction. The point being that Stochastic Rsi is pointed to the downside. You don't really want to read overbought and oversold signals on Stoch Rsi. Actually, you want to read the change in the direction and the change in momentum. It's a momentum oscillator after all, and currently Stochastic Rsi has this momentum shifted to the downside. We can see that very clearly right here. Going out to the daily chart, we do still see some other technical indicators that are very important as well. One of them would have to do with the RSI. As you guys can see here, RSI has been overextended many times here over the last couple of days, over the last couple of months, excuse me. Normally when Bitcoin would get overextended here on the daily chart RSI, you see some kind of correction. Both of these times we saw that happen, but instead of a correction, Bitcoin just traded sideways right here and right here. But recently, we've come up and gotten overextended on the RSI, and instead of trading sideways and spending 3-4 weeks for Bitcoin to actually cool off on the RSI so we can go on another run, what Bitcoin has done instead here is it has started a correction, and Bitcoin has crashed quite substantially, about 25% or so. So with that in mind, Stochastic RSI, I can speak today, I promise, has actually crashed a little bit. What that means is that RSI has retraced a little bit, and that actually gives us room to start another rally, a stronger rally, a lot quicker than it would have taken these other times. It took maybe a month here for this rally to kick off again because RSI had to cool down. Same thing here. It took maybe a month or so before another rally could kick off because that RSI had to cool down. Because Bitcoin has had a proper correction here, that's actually a short-term bullish thing, short-term being the next 2 weeks or so, because that's going to allow people to have that RSI not in massive overbought territory and allow people to actually buy Bitcoin and be a little more confident that they are getting a good deal. So ending that tangent right there, because that was not really short-term technical analysis, that was a bit longer-term technical analysis. As far as the short-term TA that we're doing in today's video, another reason why I think Bitcoin may be about to break bearish is because of our MACD. As you guys can see, we did have a climax on the MACD right over here where Bitcoin got very, very separated. Bitcoin's MACD was looking very bullish, but of course what goes up must come down. MACD is no exception. It is, of course, also a momentum oscillator, and we do see that these two lines are converging on themselves quite rapidly. We can see the MACD line is curving down here to hit the signal line. We see that the MACD's histogram is absolutely cliff diving right now, all the way down to the 0 level. We're probably going to see a bearish cross if things continue to go the way they are in the next 3 days or so. And just because we haven't seen the cross just yet does not mean that the MACD has not given us a valid signal yet. This is a very valid signal. The fact that the direction of the MACD and the MACD's histogram has changed is a very important signal, and one that we use a lot here on the channel because of how powerful it is. So in short, guys, unless something changes here over the next 24 hours or so and Bitcoin does manage to bounce off of 11.5, I am quite bearish right now, and I think Bitcoin is about to break. I think that there's a much better chance that Bitcoin breaks bearish than breaking bullish. With that said, I think there's a decent chance that Bitcoin has a little bit of a bounce here for maybe 12 hours or so. But in eventuality, if this does not rally above this previous high, and Bitcoin cannot set a new higher high here on the longer term time frames, then I think Bitcoin is doomed to go below 11.5. And the way I say that sounds all doom and gloom. It's not that big a deal, guys. Actually, it's just another buying opportunity. It's another place that we can get more Bitcoin. It's another entry. There's nothing wrong with Bitcoin going down to $10,000, so don't get too freaked out about it. Use it as a buying opportunity, because I'm not totally convinced that we're going to see a sub $10,000 Bitcoin again. I think there's maybe a 30% chance that we never see a sub $10,000 Bitcoin again, but I don't think that that's what's most likely. Either way, guys, I hope you did get some value out of this video. Before we wrap it up, I do want to mention a couple of price targets for Bitcoin. One of them, of course, has to do with $10,000. That's an obvious one, so I'll just kind of go ahead and throw that out there. But another one I want to look at is the 20 exponential moving average out here on the daily chart. Bitcoin came close to it last time, but we didn't actually go all the way down to it. Bitcoin is probably going to fall straight to it if we fall through $11,500 again, down here to around 10.5, where the 20 exponential moving average is currently. Bitcoin doesn't necessarily have to get support exactly on that level. It can fall a little bit below it. It can fall just a little bit above it. Nevertheless, the 20 EMA is a very important moving average for Bitcoin. Should Bitcoin manage to stay above that moving average, and I think it will, or at least above the kind of zone around it, so like above $10,000 basically. If Bitcoin can stay above the zone around the 20 exponential moving average, I think we're going to still be in a rally. We're still going to be moving to the upside. I honestly, at this point, think there's a decent chance that we hit $20,000 before the end of the year, and with every new all-time high, or excuse me, every new yearly high that we set, I think it becomes more and more likely that we do actually hit that new ATH here this year. So guys, if we do have a correction, use it as an opportunity to consider loading up your bags. Do that based off of your own technical analysis, your own fundamental analysis, your own understanding of the market, not mine. Never make trades or investments based off of what I say or what anyone else says. You have to be able to sleep with yourself, and you have to be able to sleep with your gains and your losses at the end of the day. But either way, guys, that is going to be the end of this video. I do hope you guys did enjoy the video. Before we wrap it up, I do want to mention the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, guys. If you want to learn how to do technical analysis on these markets, if you want to learn how to trade these markets, if you want to learn how to be profitable in these markets, which I think is what we're all trying to do, then taking a structured course that runs you through everything you need to know is a great way to do it. If you're interested in what we have to offer, you can check out the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy in the description down below. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.